There are many advantages to the production of seedlings. When the field or greenhouse is eventually planted, the maximum number of plantlets can be used, resulting in increased yields and profits. The plants will grow to be of uniform size, minimizing the competition between them and resulting in the maximum yield per plant. Also, because they are grown inside a nursery, away from growing fields, seedlings are protected from pests. This early protection means that plants will be healthier over a longer period of time. Before planting, and even before installing drip irrigation, it is important to know how many seeds you will need to plant. Step 1 is to sketch your plot of land and determine its area. Say your field is 80 meters in length by 50 meters in width. Multiply the length times the width, or 80 by 50, to determine the area. The area of this plot is 4,000 square meters. Step 2 is to divide the total area by the distance between beds. Fintrac recommends that beds measure 1.5 meters from center to center. So divide the total area, 4,000 square meters, by the distance between beds, 1.5 meters, and this will give you 2,667 meters. Step 3 is to determine the distance between plants. Fintrac has provided bulletins which list the recommended distance between specific crops for every country we work in. For this example, we'll use cabbage. The recommended distance between cabbage plants in Jamaica is 30 centimeters, with 2 lines of plants per bed. This means that in each raised bed there are 2 rows of cabbage. Step 4 is dividing the linear meters of raised beds, 2,667 meters, by the distance between plants, 30 centimeters. First, you should always convert the centimeters to meters. In this case, 30 centimeters also equals 0.3 meters. Divide 2,667 meters by 0.3 meters. This equals 8,890 plantlets. Because there are 2 lines per bed, you must multiply this number by 2. This equals 17,780 plants. Step 6 is dividing the total number of plants by the germination percentage found on the seed packet. For instance, if the seed packet says that the seeds have a germination percentage of 95%, divide 17,780 by 0.95. This equals 18,716. Step 7 is to factor in the number of plants that will die in the seedling process. Hybrid plants have a 3% death rate, while open pollination seeds have a 10% death rate. So, if you were using hybrid cabbage seeds, you would multiply 18,716 by 1.03, which would give you 19,277. This is the number of seedlings you need to plant in order to have 100% coverage in your plot. Tools utilized in seedling production are a nursery, seeds, seedling trays, a scale, the growing medium, fertilizer, a bucket, gloves, and a germination chamber, which is a large black plastic bag. It ensures a warm, moist environment and speeds up seed germination. Step 1 is measuring the soil. The amount of fertilizer or fungicide used is dependent on the weight of the soil. For instance, for every 0.5 kilograms or 1 pound of soil, 10 grams of fertilizer and 1 gram of fungicide should be used. Step 2 is diluting the fertilizer. Before adding it to the soil, the fertilizer should be diluted in water. This allows for a more even distribution in the soil. If you are using a fungicide, it should be added at this time. Step 3 is mixing the diluted fertilizer and the soil. Mix the fertilizer and soil by hand to get a feel for the right consistency. If you are using a chemical fungicide, make sure you are also wearing full protective gear. When it is ready, the soil should be watered down to the point that when squeezed, it retains its shape for a second or two. Step 4 is filling the seedling tray with the resulting mixture. Spread the soil evenly to the tops of each cell. Be careful not to compact the soil too much, as root development may become difficult. Step 5 is planting the seeds. Using a sharp object, guide the seeds into the center of each cell, using only one seed per cell. Don't touch the seeds with your bare hands, as they may be treated with harmful chemicals. Cover the seeds with an even layer of soil. Step 6 is watering. Once the water begins dripping from the bottom, the seedling tray is ready to be put into the germination chamber. Step 7 is putting the seedling tray into the germination chamber. The tray will stay in the germination chamber anywhere from 2 to 8 days, depending on the crop. The seedling tray should now be put on a stand or a rack and left in the nursery. Step 8 is putting seedlings in the nursery. Now that the plantlets have been removed from the germination chamber, they are put in the nursery for anywhere from 12 to 28 days. Watering depends on weather conditions, but the frequency can range from 1 to 4 times a day. The farmer should check the wetness of the soil before watering. When the plantlets have at least 4 true leaves, they are ready to be transplanted. Tools used for transplanting include a scale, fertilizer with a high percentage of phosphorus, a bucket, containers measuring 200 cubic centimeters, a mixing stick, gloves, and a marker. A marker is a stick labeled with the correct distance between planted seedlings. Plant varieties and seasons are the main factors in determining how far apart plants should be. Step 1 is measuring the starter solution. 3 to 5 pounds of the starter solution fertilizer should be added for every 200 liters of water. Step 2 is to dilute the starter solution thoroughly. Step 3 is pouring the solution. 200 cubic centimeters of the solution are poured into each hole. Step 4 is planting the seedlings. It is imperative that the solution is absorbed into the soil before planting. Otherwise, the roots may be burned. When planting in the field, it is essential to put a marker down. Step 5 is the follow-up fertilization. The day after sowing, it is important to follow up with a fertilization and spraying program to ensure the health of the plantlets. Things to remember. Calculate the number of seeds needed for a particular plot of land. Prepare the seedling trays on a plastic sheet if possible, so that any soil medium that falls to the ground may be reused. Leftover seeds may be reused if stored well. Place leftover seeds in the lower drawer of a refrigerator to retain optimal quality. Remove the trays from the germination chamber and place them on the nursery stands as soon as you see the first plant germinating. If you wait too long, it could lead to poor quality plantlets.